It's alive! It's alive!
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to take you from A to Z, the most efficient way to level up a champion and max out a champion from start to finish. And we're going to do that along with a champion in today's video, the next champion that I kind of have my eye on in terms of maxing out and doing a YouTube guide here on the channel for Sandlash Survivor. So I'm going to show you guys how I would advise you to take it, again, from 4 stars all the way to 6-star, fully ascended, geared out, everything, right? And there are a number of different ways to skin a cat, forgive the expression, right? Meaning that if you wanted to go full efficiency, but it will take you longer, I'll show you that method, and then I'll show you somewhere in between, which is the method that I usually use, and then I'll show you just the fastest overall method if you don't care about resources. So let's go ahead and start with the basics. How do you identify which champion you want to upgrade next, right? I mean, this is obviously an important fundamental in the game. You don't want to waste your time on champions that aren't going to pay enormous dividends for your account. So I landed on Sandlash Survivor because I wanted help in faction wars, and I really wanted a YouTube guide on her as well. She's a newer champion in the game. But, you know, as I always mention here, you guys should factor in where can I use this champion, and how many different areas can I use this champion. And if there's not a lot of areas in the game, you might want to reconsider to get more bang for your buck in terms of time spent, energy spent, resources spent on that champion, okay? The second thing I look at is the rarity and the affinity of the champion, right? So do I have enough epic books? Does this champion require books to be useful? The big requirements, when we say required books, we're looking at, is there a big cooldown? Let's look on her. I'm not sure if there is. Yes. So Endless Sands is her main ability. I require books on this champion because if there's a 4-turn, getting her main ability down to a 3-turn is going to be paramount to capturing all the value out of this champion. So I look at her as a mandatory book. So if I don't have any epic books on my account, which is not the case, I do have some epic books, I would probably pass and focus on a rare, or if I had legendary books, a legendary champion, okay? So factoring all these things, same thing with affinity, right? Especially if you're free to play, it can take a long time to grind all those potions. If I had no spirit potions at all to ascend her, I might want to look elsewhere, especially if that was kind of the deciding factor between two champions. Now, before we get into the XP farming, I want to show you kind of where I spend my time on my auto battles. So if we go into the dungeons, right, this is what I do on a 7 nights a week. I have the raid pass, so I get 100 auto battles a night, and some of you might use auto clickers as well. So however you farm in this game, what I would advise, at least my method, is 1 day a week, 1 night a week, I farm Arcane Keep, no matter what. So 1 night a week, I'm always farming for some arcane potions. That way I never catch myself without absolutely any potions at all, and I have to, you know, start from scratch for a champion. Usually at the rate where I upgrade champions, farming 1 day a week is sufficient for that. Sometimes, like in today's video, I might have to farm a little bit extra to make sure we can max out that champion. And then I spend another day on one specific keep. So, you know, maybe it's Void Keep this week, and I'll just farm level stage 15 just so I have them kind of in stock. Even if I don't have a champion who I have my eye on maxing that is Void Affinity, I'll still farm when that dungeon is open. And again, I rotate, so I'm not doing it every day, but just once a week, I'll just spend 100 battles on one of these keeps. Again, it's not usually enough to have, you know, endless potions of everything that I need, but at least I'm kind of keeping myself in stock. And then the other 5 days of the week, usually 2 days, I'll farm Spider's Den, just for the silver, because I need silver to upgrade these artifacts for all my new champions, right? And my accessories. So I will farm Spider's Den 2 days a week just to sell those accessories, for the most part. If I get anything great, I'll keep it too. And then the rest of my 3 days, I'm farming usually 1 or 2 days in Fire Knight because I love shield and immunity gear and crit damage, savage, stun. I mean, I think that Fire Knight is just the best gear in my opinion in the game in terms of having the most sets that I really use a lot and I love a lot in the game. And then the last day, I'll farm Dragon's Lair, partially because speed is the best set in the game, so I always need speed gear, and I always do that as well, Dragon's Lair, to farm champions. So I'm usually using 1 or 2 champions that I just want to farm up. It's not a ton of experience, but it's kind of 2 birds, 1 stone, energy efficiency, right? I'm getting artifacts. Doesn't matter if it takes me 4 or 5 minutes to win a match. It doesn't matter because it's overnight when I'm sleeping anyway, right? So I'm also leveling up my champions also getting artifacts at the same time. So again, all about efficiency, and that would be the most efficient way to actually XP level up a champion. Get experience, not a ton of it, but get experience while also getting gear, right? So again, that is the most efficient way. It's also the slowest way. The other way is campaign. This is the most popular way, obviously, in the game to level up a character. So we go to campaign, and normally what I do is, so let's say you've identified your champion you want to upgrade, again, looking at their end game viability, looking at their overall versatility, looking at what rarity they are, looking at what affinity they are, and looking at their value over replacement. All those factors in considering what champion I want to level up. I have my champion, now what am I doing, right? I go to stage 12-3 of Nightmare. I always go stage 12-3, even though stage 12-6 of Nightmare gives out, or excuse me, of Brutal, not Nightmare, my bad, guys. Brutal, and if you can't get to Brutal, just go hard, okay? But stage 12-3 Brutal is the best place to get silver in terms of energy efficiency, silver per energy, okay? In terms of XP, it would be 12-6. However, I do not go with 12-6 because I would rather the extra silver. I don't care if I miss out on a little bit extra experience. So 12-3, that's where you go. You pick your campaign farmer, whoever it is. Mine is Queen Ava. There she is. I run her in lead, and then I put her with, you know, you can... to get maximum efficiency, you want to put them with 3 champions. So because it will be a 25% split on each champion. Otherwise, if I just go with 1 champion here, I'm essentially throwing away. You know, it's split 50-50. So I could be, instead of splitting the experience 50-50 between 2 champions, I could be getting 25, 25, 25, and then 25 for Queen Ava, which is going to be lost experience. At the end of the day, campaign farming is usually where you want to go. If you're really in a rush, you just go 2 champions and you sacrifice a little bit of efficiency and energy optimization, right? But otherwise, I would advise you go with 4 champions in campaign farming. So what I normally do is I campaign farm the hero all the way to where we are with Sandlashed. So Sandlashed Survivor, I get her to this point in campaign. So again, just to rewind, usually she's starting out as a, you know, most of your champions are going to start out as a 3 or 4 star. 4 star, I'll max her out through campaign farming, and then I'll take her to 5 stars, max her out through campaign farming, and I gain a lot of silver in that process. You know, you're changing in your energy and you're trading it into silver, and you're also getting a lot of experience by doing this method. And then once I get her up to 5 stars, maxed out at level 50, then I take her into the tavern. And then I have a choice to make. Again, it comes down to, I pretty much always do that method though. I don't use potions, I don't use Dragon's Lair, anything like that up until the 5 star. So then I go to my champion. Sandlashed, where are ya? I go to my Sandlashed, I go to the tavern, and then I upgrade her rank, right? So obviously, if you have chickens, that's great. We're gonna use chickens in this video because for sake of you know, me not having to farm up all the food. But normally during this process, you would also have food ready. Again, it's important to, in this game, always be kind of farming up these food champions, these common, uncommon, whatever champions, rare champions that you have, and have them ready to go. And again, that's not always possible, but that would be this part of the step that, you know, this is the hardest, I think the most difficult thing to get in the game is obviously rank 5 chickens, or, you know, taking the time and the energy and the investment in leveling up champions, food champions to sacrifice. Now, when you're leveling up food champions, it's incredibly important that you use all 4 of them in the campaign, still using 12-3, okay? So again, now we go ahead and upgrade. Whether you use chickens or champions or food, there we go, she's 6 stars. Now I have a decision to make. Do I want to go campaign 12-3 all the way? I can, but it would probably take me another day or 2 to do so, unless I just wanted to sit there and burn energy and just keep clicking replay, which is totally viable as well. At this point, if I was in a rush, this is when I would use potions. So I try to farm the silver to spend on the potions for getting after she's 6 star, you know what I'm saying? But I think that it sets you up in a nice way, because if I use potions the whole way, I'm just gonna run out of potions and it's gonna cost me quite a bit of silver at the end of the day. So I'll go to upgrade level. Now here, if I'm in a rush and I really want this champion today, I really want to make a YouTube guide on this champion, or she's going to fit perfectly on one of my teams and I'm just in a rush and I'm impatient, I will use my potions, okay? So I happen to have a lot of these spirit potions. I would just use them right now. And again, for this video, I will go ahead and use almost all potions, but I do want to show you another option. I could use, you know, a few rounds of potions right now, not deplete my entire potion selection here, get her to maybe level 40, and then I could take her into Dragon's Lair and level her up that way. And again, you might not be able to farm stage 20 of Dragon's Lair at all, or maybe you can't do it with this champion, but I can do it on stage 20. You could do the same method on stage 13 Dragon's Lair. It doesn't really matter as long as you can survive. Again, time is not the key component here in terms of speed farming or anything like that. You just need a team that can survive. So I'm actually going to take out Seer because that would be a more of a speed farm comp, and I'm going to put in a safer bet. I don't even know who I'm going to put in here. It doesn't really matter. I'll put in Bad Elf because this team is not going to be dying with this composition. So essentially, it's okay that Sandlashed Survivor dies in this composition. She's on the far right. That's cool. It's just about running this comp 100 times, and I'm going to get her maybe not max, but, you know, 57, level 58 or so probably if I ran 100 times. Maybe she would be max. I don't even know the math. But either way, I'm not going to show you the entire dragon run. She'll die off the bat. She'll probably be revived as well by Siphi, but no big deal. And this is how the slow way, but the energy efficient way to actually level up your champion without having to use either a campaign or having to use any of your potions. This way, again, I'm getting great gear while I'm leveling her up, and the rest of the 4 champions can carry the burden in terms of killing the waves and killing the dragon, and she'll keep dying over and over again. But again, not worried about time, and it's not even going to be that slow of a run when all said and done, probably about a minute and a half. So, I think actually I won't cut here, guys. Instead, I'll just kind of carry on to, I'm going to have to cut anyway to get her leveled up all the way to 60. And after that, I'll show you how I approach ascending a champion and how I go about like selecting artifacts in terms of what I focus on first and what I focus on last. So actually, we'll be right back once I have her fully leveled up. Alright guys, so I have her level 60, now I'm going to book her up. I happen to have a lot of epic books, but otherwise I would, if I only had a few, I'd be really paying attention to the cooldowns. So Endless Sands, I need to get to level 5, and the Born Survivor, there's only one cooldown or one level up ability, and it is the important one. So these are the 2 skills that I do need on cooldown, so you could do it 1 book at a time if you wanted to be incredibly efficient and see if you can get lucky. So Endless Sands just went to level 2, that is good, and again here, just trying to see, and Endless Sands just went to level 3. That's good as well, right? So we don't want books to go into the smell weakness. We want to go to Endless Sands and into Born Survivor. So again here, we can see if we'll get lucky. This is kind of moot because we are, and that was at the A1, because we're going to fully book her anyway, but this is how you would do it if you wanted to be super efficient and not use all of your books if you don't have to. So see, we're getting pretty, I was going to say pretty lucky. No, there we go. No, one more on Endless Sands. Can we get it? Let's see. And we don't. So, you know, kind of bad luck there, I guess. It doesn't really matter. But again, this is kind of what you want to do, 1 book at a time. There we go. We get Endless Sands down. So now if we can just get the Born Survivor, we can save a few books off of not having to fully book the A1. So let's see if we can do it here. And no, it looks like we're probably going to fully book the A1. And then, yeah, because what are we going to do? Save 1 book? Yeah, whatever. So there you go. So now she is fully booked officially. I would advise you guys go 1 book at a time, again, if you are short on books. And then I usually go to start to ascend her. Now you'll notice I have not put any artifacts on her at all. That's because she's just really dying in all the experience runs that I have. I think that, you know, if you're running a support champion, a champion that has like a speed buff, I think putting them in some speed gear, leveling up to level 12, especially if you're going to use that gear, is not a bad idea on that champion before you start to go ahead and ascend her. But normally, for me, I will go ahead and just do everything without any gear on my champion. But again, if they do have something they can add to the battle, go ahead and don't hesitate to do so. So we're just ascending her up. Again, at this point, you would probably be farming these potions. I haven't done her masteries yet. That will be the next thing on the agenda. Let's see. I might have to mix some potions here. I think, what am I at? 4 stars or 5 right now? I think I'm only at, let's see. And there we go. She is 6-star. So we're good to go. Now we're almost there. So if I go back to the champion screen, she is 6-starred. She is fully ascended. I talked about my kind of daily and weekly routines when it comes to the potion keeps. So now masteries time. So masteries. If I was in a rush, I would just buy the masteries. If I wanted to do a guide on her for YouTube, especially if she was a new champion that just came out, I would just buy the masteries. 800 gems, pretty pricey. So you'll probably be going to Minotaur's Labyrinth. So all you want to do, guys, is pick out 4 champions that already have their masteries totally done. So, and then put your champion that you're working on with no masteries at all in that team with those 4 champions that already have their masteries done, and you'll be good to go. All those scrolls will go to the champion that needs the scrolls, that still needs masteries. So in the very beginning of this game, it can be incredibly tedious and take a long, long time. It's an arduous process when you have like your starting champion, your Kale or whatever, and then alongside 3 or 4 other champions that you're working on building those masteries out. It's long. The good news is once you get 4 champions that have their masteries maxed, all the scrolls again will go to that new champion. It will be so much easier for you to farm. It will take much less time. Usually you can just go ahead and allocate a day or 2 instead of, you know, I remember farming a month plus to just get my first team of champions to have their masteries maxed. So that's going to be the case here. I'm going to go ahead and just buy the masteries, but I figured I'd show you, again, the best, most efficient process for mastery farming. And you're going to see all the scrolls are going to go, boom, right to Sandlash Survivor, all 28 scrolls every single time. So again, much easier once you have one kind of go-to farming Minotaur's Labyrinth masteries team. Let's go ahead and fully do her masteries, and then we'll talk about artifacts. So masteries, guys, we're going to pretend that we farmed these all up, but we didn't. We're going to buy them. Dirty, dirty, dirty gemmer right there. I'm actually going to save that for the actual review video on Sandlash Survivor. We're not going to talk much about the actual champion today because, you know, don't want to spoil the future content here on the channel, guys. In terms of artifacts, the first question that I ask myself is, do I want to put a set on this champion? Let's say I really wanted to put, I don't know, like a Retaliate set on this champion. The first thing that I would do is, and this is the first question I ask myself out of everything on this champion. If I wanted to put, let's just say I wanted to put a shield set on her, because shield is OP, right? I wanted to build her out with high HP and put a shield set on her. I would first look at the middle row. Okay, so I would look for, let's say I need defense on her. I have a defense. So I have a defense chest, and then, okay, great. Do I have any, okay, let's pretend that I want to put defense boots on her as well, right? So I have defense boots, defense chest. Let's go ahead and equip that stuff here, and then I already have 2 spots open. The reason I'm looking at these 3 spots first is because if I didn't have anything, and obviously, guys, I would want speed boots on her in general, but for, you know, sake of this video, let's just pretend we want a defense. But the reason I look at this middle row first is because these gear over here, the gauntlets, the chest, and the boots, they're more niche. You have to have the exact stat that you want, whereas the first row, it's easy to kind of fill in the spots because it's always attack, HP, defense, attack, HP, defense. So you can fill in gear slots very easily when you focus on the top row. More often than not, after you're farming, after you're playing this game for a few months, you're going to have at least a couple artifacts on the weapon, the helmet, and the shield. So it's easy to get 3 there. It's more difficult to get at least 1 or even 2 artifacts from your chest, your boots, or your gauntlets if you're going for a 4-piece set. That's why I always start there, making sure I can find and identify one of those pieces, and then I can just fill in the blanks. Oh, okay, easy. I'll just go with this, and I'll go with this, and boom, we have our shield set already built for us, okay? So then I would level these up to maybe level 12. I always max out the middle row first, so gauntlets, chest, and boots I would max out first, and then I would level these up to 12, and then, you know, assuming that I was limited on silver, and then I would max everything out at level 16. Same thing with accessories. I'd probably max out my accessories, certainly the banner, and probably the amulet after I maxed out the middle row. Then I would save the top row for last in terms of order. But at this point, okay, I have my main set on, shield, good. Now what else do I need? I usually try to find a set for these last 2 pieces, assuming that I was going to go with a 4-2 sets. I usually try to find, you know, speed gear more often than not, and I would go, okay, this looks good, let's pretend I wanted this on her, and oh, the perfect gauntlet's right here. Okay, sounds good. So I try to kind of fill in, if I can, with that last set. I try to make it adding speed to the champion, usually going with a 2-piece speed set. And if I can't build a set with those last 2 pieces, that's totally fine. Or if I was going with 3 sets of 2 pieces, if I have to break a set and just have 2 random artifacts, that's totally fine. You really want to make sure you're nailing those stats and getting them to where you want them to be. And then I take a look at my champion and I say, okay, everything's max here. What do I need? Or at level 12 at least, I kind of have a good idea of what I have in terms of stats. And then I look at, okay, do I need an accuracy banner on this champion? What stats am I short on? What stats do I need more of? Like, how is my accuracy? How is my crit damage? How is my defense? How is my HP and attack? I look at all those factors, and then I kind of factor that into the accessories that I put on this champion. More often than not, I'm going with either defense or crit damage on the amulet. More often than not, I'm going with accuracy or I guess accuracy, defense, attack speed, depends on the champion, obviously. On the banner, I'm going to put accuracy on this champion. This is not the gear that I'm actually going to use on her, just, for sakes of the video again. And then let's pretend, oh yeah, defense with HP, perfect on this artifact, on this ring. So there we go. That's kind of how I do the gear. That was a little bit of a haphazard kind of tutorial there, but hopefully you guys get the gist. I mean, ultimately, you're just picking out gear for your champion that you think suits the stats that you need. So the first thing you should do, obviously, is Google search the champion, find a website you trust. I go with Amu Love, I don't know what the hell it is, but I'll link it below. But I go with that website. Generally, it's on point in terms of the suggestions for artifacts, for stat priorities. But truthfully, as soon as you start playing this game after a few months, you guys will naturally just understand what you want on these champions. Like for Sandlash Survivor, okay, she has Endless Sands on this ability, decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. Well, that's going to take accuracy, so I will need accuracy. She has a provoke that's going to need accuracy. Her damage is based on defense. I'm going to need defense, right? So it's pretty obvious. I'm going to need speed and defense. Her damage is based on defense, so it probably wouldn't hurt to have a 100% crit rate. So if I need a 100% crit rate, I'll probably have to put crit rate gauntlets on her. It becomes very intuitive and apparent after you've been playing for a while, but early on, it's nice to kind of use a website or a YouTube video as kind of a crutch to kind of guide you in the right direction. Maybe we'll show you something that you previously hadn't thought of on a given champion, but I would never trust any one resource, including my own YouTube channel, as the be-all, end-all for any information in the game. It really is dependent on your champions, your account, and where you're going to be using them. So guys, I hope this helped you in terms of A to Z, the process that I would advise you go through when maxing out a champion. If you like the content here, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. I appreciate you guys, and as always, take care, guys.